social media and stuff is like, like you were saying, like 999 people are going to support you in silence.
Yeah.
They're going to like your videos. They're maybe just going to watch it.
Yeah.
Just going to be a view.
Yeah.
But that 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5 people you're going to see that hit.
It's exciting. I'm excited. This is the very first podcast that we have done in here. Like, that is so exciting. You know how exciting that is, Nationers? We are here live in Spokane, Washington, ready to record the very first podcast of the Realest Podcast. It's a tongue twister. Like, you can't say that 10 times fast. You legit could not. It's insane. Like, the entire work that we put in to this is insane. We've got the photo back here, the mixer, the 2 mics. We got a whole bunch of lights in here. It's semi-hot in here, so we do have a window open. So I would advise you to not comment, "Oh, there is so much static." It's the wind. It's outside. You may hear a few cars here and there. We may shut it. Who knows? They don't typically come up on the microphone, so we're probably going to be okay. But beyond that, our guest today. He's a man of many hairstyles, a master of the backflip, and damn, he is one of the hardest working people I know. Everyone, welcome Jon Watkins.
Thank you.
I'm the only one clapping, but hopefully you're clapping at home too. Our very first guest, Jon.
He's on. Yep. Happy to be here.
I'm glad, dude. It's exciting, man. Kind of got to see the journey a little bit, I guess today, going to just kind of talk about you, kind of learn a little bit more about you, see who you are, talk about any funny stories you have, my friend.
All right.
From Selah, my friend.
Yep, Selah, Washington.
What's that like? What is it like down there?
Well, contrast to here, it's more desert.
Okay.
Desert over there. Sagebrush, no pine trees.
Yeah.
It's fairly similar to Spokane. It's right next to Yakima. So
Yeah.
it's basically like a suburb to Yakima. So
Yeah.
basically like the Spokane Valley to Spokane.
Yeah.
But a little bit smaller.
Sure. I went to Selah 2018, if I'm not wrong. I was in Selah. I told you this story, but for those who don't know, I was in Selah, and it was funny because I was like, I remember staying with like this family, the Andersons. You know who they are. They were the mother was the PE teacher, if I'm not wrong, correct? And when I like heard Selah, it was like one of the first like kind of stories that I had told Jon, just because it was like my only experience in Selah at that time. And yeah, so I was down there for a leadership conference, and we stay at like all these weird, like, well, not weird families, but we stay at these family houses, which sounds weird. And so that's basically how I kind of got into Selah. And I didn't really know because like in the morning you're like super tired and groggy, and then at night you don't know where you're going and you just see signs everywhere and you're like, well, I guess I'm at Selah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I went there during my road trip. I was with a friend from Ike, and we went down to that park that has kind of like that turf. It's like brand new. I don't.
Volunteer Park.
Yes. I saw you there when you were back home like a month ago, and I was like, or it might have been like an old video that you post on your Snapchat, and I was like, oh yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah. You're like I think. I don't remember what you did in the thing, but it's like this kind of like rubbery surface like they have downtown now. So, yeah, like what is like something to do in Selah? Like, is there anything to do in Selah?
Well, yeah, there's quite a bit to do. I mean, in the winter, there's a lot of hills. Like it's like just encased in like a valley. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's the Yakima Valley. So
sure.
Well, it's not the Yakima Valley. Yakima Valley is like there's Selah north.
Okay.
And then there's Yakima, and then there's the valley, and that goes all the way down to Tri-Cities.
Okay.
And so around there, it's just valley, a lot of hills, and so during the winter, people like to get out and go sledding. There's White Pass, like minutes away, and so I snowboard. So I'll go up there sometimes snowboard. I didn't get to go this year, but people go up there a lot. Get season passes, go up a ton, like every weekend. Yeah. In the summer, it just gets really hot.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Just stay inside.
Yeah.
People go to, Moses Lake Water Park.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
People go there. We have the Yakima River, but it's not really used for swimming.
No, it's more like rafting, like or just like floating down.
So
yeah.
In between, it's called like Ellensburg Canyon, or no, something Canyon. Yakima River Canyon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And so it's just between Ellensburg, Sela, and it's just a river that just snakes through a valley. And so there's a cliff jumping spot there. We go there. It's called Pac-Man.
Okay.
If you're ever in Yakima, I suggest you go check it out. It's pretty cool.
You hear that? If you're ever in Washington and end up in Yakima County, or Yakima to be specific, go to that place, Pac-Man Cliff.
Pac-Man Cliff.
Like Pac-Man, like nom 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 nom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's happy. It's also called Happy Face Cliff.
Okay.
There's a big old Pac-Man on the side of the cliff. So you'll be able to tell if you're rafting through.
Gotcha. You'll basically see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's times during the year where it's like unsafe to go.
So like too low or too high?
It's too low.
Okay. That makes sense.
And like in the spring, early summer, it's really cold.
Yeah.
The wind can get going through the valley, so like you can freeze out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of cliff jumping, you're a pretty avid cliff jumper, yeah?
Yeah. I love the cliff jump.
Yeah. I was one of your friends took a photo yesterday. He's a photographer. What's his name? I don't remember. Aiden. Yes. Yeah. He took a photo like on his photography account. And you were doing a backflip. I want to say it was at the Cove, right? It was at the Cove.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Because when I was up at the Cove with you guys, me and you were the first two to go up on that 50-footer, if not higher than 50, and like you're just insane, dude. Like you did, for anybody who doesn't know, like or has never cliff jumps, like it looks easy. Like that cliff looks like it's 50 feet, from the water. It looks like you could just jump off and you're fine. But when you're up there, for those who don't know, again, it is scary. It is very scary. Like you kind of get like the gut wrenching feeling, and I imagine you've cliff jumped like 1,000 times. Like it's probably just like something that you do a lot or like enjoy. Yeah. Maybe not 1,000. Especially.
Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Who's counting? But but at the Cove, one thing that I really admire about you is like to do something that's like not so normal. And I kind of preach this. Maybe I don't practice it all the time in the same way. I always say like be great, be different, and I think like you've kind of always reciprocated that back to me, and it's just always like, yeah, like dude, like this is the guy that I'm rocking with. And so while we're at the Cove on this 50-footer that like you made it look so easy climbing up there, bro. I was like on fingers, like trying to get up. And you did a backflip off this 50-footer. I don't know what it looked like because I wasn't watching. Insane, dude. Insane. What was that like?
Well, the first time I ever did it was last fall.
Okay.
And it was like the highest backflip I've ever done before.
So you're saying you've done a backflip off that already?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That wasn't the first time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'd done it before, and I think that was like the first time I had done it like this year.
Sure.
Like this spring. So I hadn't done it since like September of 2020.
Good half year.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I had done it before, like in the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
I jumped it, and then I went back home, and I started I went to like Pac-Man, did a backflip off that.
Okay.
There's a place called Rimrock near Yakima. It's actually a place to go.
Okay.
In Yakima, Rimrock Lake. There's like a bridge to jump off of.
Okay.
It's fairly safe, and then people just paddleboard, and there's fishing places and stuff like that, and so that's real fun.
For sure.
I started just jumping off higher and higher cliffs, like doing backflips off higher cliffs.
Yeah.
And then like finally I hit the Cove, and the first time I go there, I just jump off of it.
Sure, just like normal, kind of something that I did. I just jumped off it. Yeah.
And then the next time I came back, I was like, maybe I should backflip. Well, I saw someone do like a gainer off of it. I was
dude.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I just like built up, going higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
And then I did it, and it was like, that was awesome. Like, you don't see a lot of people doing that. Like, I don't know. I just find maybe it's just like, it's not that I want to be different. It's just that like, I think it's fun. I find fun in, like jumping backwards off a cliff and doing a flip. I don't know. It's fun to me. It's
a different experience than just like running and jumping. I would even say it is hard as, a backflip's not super hard when you're 50 feet up, but I would feel, and obviously I've never done a backflip off like something that high. But I would imagine, because when I jumped off, like it felt like I was jumping for like 5 seconds. Like it felt super long. I imagine since you're turning, you're rotating, right? You're rotating over yourself, that it wouldn't feel as long. Like you just kind of like jump, and then you maybe have like you're still turning, and then you just go straight and you're right into the water, because your mind like times it for you, you don't spin too fast.
You're more focused on the flip, like getting over, and then your instinct is to like check the landing, and so you're just focused on that. You're not really focused on like the hang time. You're more focused on like saving your life.
Not dying and
not dying, dive flopping, belly flopping, and just like hitting feet first.
Sure.
And so I don't know, I find fun in that.
Yeah, because like when I go to like trampoline parks and they have like like a raised platform or something, like, and you do kind of like, or like if you've ever done like what they do in gymnastics where they jump and then they kind of like slow and then they tumble. It's kind of like that. It feels like when you're kind of going, you kind of like just float and you're just going. And then you just land, and I guess you don't feel that rush. Like, do you feel that rush, like the wind rush, that is?
Sometimes on like the way down, once you've gotten over, and then you're just heading down, and you're like feet first, you can you start to feel like the wind hitting you, and then like once you get in the water, then it hits you, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was, crazy. Yeah,
because like right as I jumped, it was just like I was just like literally feeling like the entire world just like crash against me. It felt like, and so it's a really weird feeling. There's like one on Riverfront Park, or not Riverfront Park. There's one down the river here. Like if you just take Wellesley down and you take the road down, you kind of come up to a lot where people dock their kayaks or rafts, and there's like a little area that we kind of go throughout the summer that has like a shorter platform jump, and then they have a higher platform. I've never done the higher platform, surprisingly, because the landing zone is so narrow.
How tall is it?
It's probably like the one a little higher than that one that we were stationed at, like right next to it. Okay. It's probably like maybe like 3 or 5 feet higher than that. It's not high. It's not super high.
It's like around like 25.
Yeah, I'd probably say a good 25. Yeah, gotcha. I'd probably low 22. It's not high. But the target zone is so small that it kind of gets a little sketchy. And some people are just like, oh, I'm jumping. I'm like, I'd rather, like as much as I would like that experience, I want to make sure I'm like fully safe, Like I wouldn't bungee jump with like only one cord on, I'd rather have all the cords on. So it's,
sorry, so.
Yeah. Would you ever go bungee jumping?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I had like an opportunity, or like there's a good chance that I was going to go skydiving, and I was like, kind of like iffy about that. Yeah. It's just kind of like, I don't know. Like thinking about it, like my hands start to sweat. I'm like,
you're like,
I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah. But then I'll go like jump off
something like that.
Cliff, and it's like, I don't know. It's more like I'm more comfortable doing that.
Sure.
Because like I feel like I've done so many like lower backflips and stuff like that. Like I don't know. It's I say like the first time you do like a higher backflip, it's like it's kind of like a little scary. You're just kind of like the fear's kind of overriding like your instinct. You might mess up. Like the first time I did like a higher backflip, like over like 20 feet. Yeah. I just like landed on my back. Oh, it wasn't like I didn't land on my back,
but kind of kept going.
I almost did, but then I dropped my foot, so that my foot hit first, but I still like made a huge splash, and it still kind of hurt my back. So. Yeah. But then like once you get comfortable with it, it's just kind of like okay. Yeah,
building a little confidence with what you're doing.
It's confidence.
Yeah. Because like even like it's not hard. Like after that first jump that I did, I would go back up in there and do it again. Like when I was on my road trip, Julia and her friends knew a spot like on the river. I don't know what river it was, but because there's like 3 there in Leavenworth, and like there's a cliff on one side that kind of is like more overarching, and it's not really cliff base where it's like flat, shallow on the edge. It's not like an edge. It's more like a mound, and you just kind of have to keep jumping far out.
You just have to just clear.
Yeah, you have to just go for it. But it's not as high as the other side. And the other side's really hard because you have to climb via like rope. So you have to like climb with the rope, and it's really weird and it's really sketchy. So like once you go up, you gotta go down.
It's kind of like the cove. Bro.
Yeah, dude, the cove
was.
You
go up that big cliff. Like,
I mean, dude, I struggled getting up. So imagine like getting down, dude. I'd like fall off the cliff, and you'd have to come rescue me.
Again, like it's a lot easier like this. Yeah, like the first time I went up that big cliff, it was like took me like 10 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, just to scale it. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty difficult for me because like it's like there's not a grip. You kind of just have to weight yourself and just hope that your foot or hand doesn't slip. So it's again just that confidence aspect.
Yeah. And then the thing is like with skydiving, like I no clue about it. Like not confident in it, and so it's like I'm more comfortable doing like cliff jumping than I am that.
Sure.
Like.
Even though you're like a guide or something, like
like I'll have a guide who's like done it like.
You're riding tandem with somebody who knows what they're doing, and they know when to pull a chute.
But it's like it's unknown to me. So.
Yeah, like the one thing for me is like I like being in control, and I would like to know what I am fully doing. Like like in skydiving, obviously I think there's a level of expertise that you kind of just have to learn, and like cliff jumping, like obviously you're doing that willingly, and. Like, I guess this kind of relates back to, like, track for me is, like, when it was, like, triple jump and long jump, I wanted to know the entire puzzle piece and know how they fit together. But then when I was training, I want to learn one puzzle piece at a time, and I want to lay one puzzle piece. But I know what the entire picture is, And so, like, when we're doing a certain workout or doing a certain drill, I want to know how that fits into this puzzle, It's like a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I, start with the edges. That's the fundamentals. And you start filling a certain area that is very comfortable. And you're like, oh, this has a little bit more white contrast. And then this one's a little bit more darker. So I know that lighter color is going there, And so you start placing those puzzle pieces and you keep building that until you build a full picture. Right. And you keep doing that, It's just sections and sections. So it's just like that. You're a 400 runner. What's your fastest time for those listening?
Fastest time, so in high school, it was a 50.59. That was junior year. Didn't have a senior year because of COVID.
Yeah.
Coming to Spokane, I broke 50 for the first time, running like a 49.85.
Okay.
At Whitworth, big surprise. Yeah. That's all we raced at.
Yeah.
And then I finally got it down in our last meet to 49.65. So
I
broke that barrier.
Yeah.
And I just want to get faster.
Yeah.
So
not the mountain yet. Yeah, it's not the pinnacle. So what's it like training to break 50? Like, was it easy? Was it hard? Did you find a lot of tribulation with it? Because it's like a barrier, like jumping over 20 feet. Yeah, like it's a very mental barrier, especially the 400 where it's a very strategic race.
Yeah.
So what's that like?
Training for it, it's just like, okay, so like I heard like a top cross country coach. He's the coach for, I don't know if you know, but it's Newberry Park down in California.
Okay.
Where Nico Young ran.
Okay.
His brothers are running.
Yeah.
And then a couple other good runners. One that went to Colorado. I can't really remember his name.
Sure.
But so he has this kind of like thing that he says, and he says that like 420, it could be 420. 420 is not fast. 420 as in like in the 1600.
Oh yeah, the mile. Yeah,
like,
the 16.
Like, he says like that's not fast
because
like if you say that's fast, you might get there and like it's gonna come like a mental block like 420 like that's it like you got to think that like 420 is just like a stepping stone to get faster, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if I say like in my head it's like 49 is so fast, and then I get there and it's like it's just like you got to take it as like a stepping stone. And so I tried to have that because in high school it was like 49. I thought that was like 49 is fast. I get to college and it's like 49 is not fast.
Yeah.
But it's just a stepping stone to get faster to
like,
where I want where like I can be, you know what I'm saying? So,
So it's more or less it's not a like this is the end all. Like it's more like a setting a goal to kind of reach that maybe this season and keep catapulting yourself and it's more of like a leverage to continue to break more.
So it's like get there, it's like what else can I do? Like because I thought this was fast, but I know it's not fast. So like I know I can go faster. You know. What I'm saying?
So like
in high school, like sorry.
No, you're good.
I never got to 49. Like I got 50.6 or 55.9.
Yeah, because you were edging that 50 for a while.
Yeah.
And then a few Whitworth meets in, did you break it? You broke it at the Whitworth meet the very first time, and then you ran it again at the War meet, if I'm not wrong.
So this year I ran it at the first Whitworth meet, and I ran like a 51. 7, I think.
Okay.
And then I didn't run it for like 3 meets in a row or 2 meets in a row.
Yeah.
I just ran the 200.
Sure.
And then we got to the War meet in kind of cruddy conditions.
Yeah.
But for the 400, it was surprising. Like it was pretty fast.
Yeah.
There was a couple PRs there. It was
a
season record for me. I ran like a 50.8.
Yeah.
In those
like literally less than a second away.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like in those conditions, like I know I can go faster. Like, it gave me confidence.
Yeah.
And then I think the next meet, that's when I broke it. It was like, I can't remember exactly what meet it was.
Yeah, I mean, would have had to been one of those Whitworth meets. It might have even been the Vandals meet, but I feel like you'd done it before that.
So I went 49.85, and then we went to Idaho. Okay. Didn't have a very good race.
Yeah, I mean the conditions there were.
Yeah, but I know I could have.
Yeah.
Like I had the confidence that I could have done it, but I didn't get that much sleep the night
before. Yeah.
The thing is like I'm not gonna have any excuses, but like what was I gonna say?
Just like a realignment of what you're doing. Like priorities.
I know that I could have done better because
before the race.
Yes, exactly. So like I know I could have prepped before better.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't like, oh, it's because like
I only got 4 hours of sleep.
Exactly. It's not because I only got 4 hours of sleep. It's because I didn't, have a good pre-meet. Like I didn't allocate enough time for myself to have a good enough pre-meet.
Yeah.
And so I ran like a 50.7, 50.8, something like that. And then I dropped back down to 49.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess relating that to like YouTube, like I guess for anybody starting, like when I first started in 2014, like 1,000 subscribers, even 100 subscribers is a lot. And it was a lot harder to gain 100 subscribers back then than it is now, just because there's a lot more people watching, if that makes sense. And a lot more people kind of in tune with certain content and kind of what they can expect. And, like when I first started, like 100 seemed like an eternity, And like when I first reached my first 100, like they always say, like you're once you reach 100, your next 100 is a lot easier, and it's the same thing for 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000, because you have to build momentum and you have to build leverage if you do it correctly, to actually engage an audience and to really, really invest yourself into a relationship with your audience. And I think that's a very important key, and like, your next subscriber is always going to be a lot easier than your last subscriber. And for anybody listening, that is a key thing, especially when you're starting, because I think people have these high goals, I think what I always say when I'm streaming is like, the best thing you could do, just kind of all around guidance, is you be consistent, have a schedule, and communication, like imagine if, I subscribed to your YouTube channel and you never commented or replied. How do you think that would make me feel, And so like, those are like the key things: having a good schedule, being consistent with that schedule, and good communication with that scheduling, and being consistent in that communication. So they all kind of, it's kind of like a Venn diagram, but there's like the 3-circle Venn diagram, something like that. So it's very important to kind of understand. And I guess relating that to like, like you said, where like it's not an end all, it's just only a leverage and a building block towards your next goal. Okay. And for me, like this last season, obviously, 2020 with COVID, that was kind of, like everything's up in air, everything is a big question mark. Like how far can I jump? How fast can you run? Not far, because it's only 400 meters. And so like it was very hard, especially coming into this season, like where might I be, and then obviously like I hurt my foot, the first meet. So that was a big setback. We've been working since October, like, and maybe not solely on triple jump, but like preparing ourselves and conditioning ourselves, since we didn't have an indoor season. It was just very hard to, like, it's just very weird and kind of odd to think that like, it's still a question mark, because I'm not doing track anymore. I'm not doing, college anymore. So it's like, I'm focused on this, and, this is my passion, and this is where I'm dedicating my priorities and my time. Now that is, I still work out. I still go to the gym every night. Just kind of lifting, stay in shape, stuff like that. I shoot hoops for like 20 minutes a day just to kind of at least stay active. So I guess relaying back, like you had said, cross country. So that was something that you did in high school for a bit. Yeah. So what's that timeline look like? Like, how did that maybe relate into 400 and obviously track? Because they're very different. Because I was a cross country runner myself, so it's like triple jump, cross country. Like there's not really a slap on the wrist, and you're like, so what's that like?
Like just cross country in high school.
Yeah, like this.
How did it relay into like
track running? How did that parlay into maybe your confidence or your endurance? Being a 400 runner.
Yeah, I'd say like the biggest takeaway that I got from cross country was like the lessons that I learned from it.
Okay.
I learned a lot about like working hard, getting through stuff because like the feeling when you're on like a 10-mile run and you're like 7 miles in and it's like, dude, how am I gonna get through these next 3 miles? It pertains to like school, into like sprinting and stuff like that. It's like doing a repeat and being like, I know I can do it because like if I put my mind to it, like you can do anything, obviously.
Yeah.
And so like in school, it's like, okay, this math sucks, but I can do it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like no challenge is like hard, like that you put in front of yourself is like too hard. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so that's what I learned from cross country. But to go back on a track when I was talking about the bubble of like 49 to 50, because like, I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, you're good.
What we were talking about was that like once I broke that, then like I realized that like I could go faster, and so it was that mental barrier like of 49. Once I that's what I was trying to get to, was like I bounced back a little bit, but then once I got down into it, it's like I know I can go faster. I know like it. I realized that like like I did it. So like what else can I do?
Yeah.
So that's what like that also helps too. I feel like that's what cross country helped with too, because it was like running like a 5K. It's like I don't know if I can run that any faster. You know the feeling. It's like. And then running it fast is like, you know what? Like, maybe I can do it just with hard work.
Yeah, and I think the weird thing about cross country is you don't see an active time. You just see an end result. Mm-hmm. So you may come in at the first kilometer or first mile, however you time it. You may come in at a certain time, that surely that's good. I think in track it's a little bit easier to catch those, like you could see the scoreboard and you could see the clock. But like when you're running, like imagine that scoreboard's off. That's cross country, but for like 10 times longer, So it's a very weird feeling, because like what you were saying with kind of like that little bubble, or at least getting over that hump, that just kind of bursts you through that bubble. When I guess maybe it doesn't really pertain to me, but you can kind of see it in others. And you could kind of see it more in your training. Like that first day, imagine, summer training comes, right? You maybe took like 2 weeks off, maybe a month off. July you start, right? Cool. That first day is always miserable. It's terrible. You're like, okay, we're going to go out for a 3-mile run. It's god awful. You're cramping, in further years, it may be easier because you kind of know what to prepare for and you maybe stay in shape a bit longer. And then that second day maybe kind of sucks because you're sore, but it seems like it's also a little bit easier. And then that third day, once you kind of maybe recuperate it, it feels like a breeze and it feels a lot easier. And so then you run 3 miles a lot faster. And then the next day, you maybe take a rest day. The next day you come back, Friday, let's say, because it's the 5th day. You come back, you're running a 4-mile, but it's also just as easy, So you're building up like a condition to that, So it's like bursting through and building up, just little stepping stones. It may be miserable and it may be hard, but you're going to get through it, And I guess one thing, at least with cross country, for you is like, at least this is just from past conversations. Did you do it for conditioning, or did you do it because you really enjoyed it?
Okay, so that's funny because I actually saw someone talking about it like on, I think it was like Instagram. It was like people who started, I don't know, like I think it was like lifting.
Sure.
For a sport, but then they fell in love with lifting. It was kind of like that for me. I was really into basketball. And then I ran cross country. It's like, dude, if I run cross country, like, I can get in great shape for basketball. I can just run over the court, just like run all over. And then I just kind of fell in love with it.
Sure.
Went to
state a few times.
Track. Yeah. My freshman year, I went to state for cross country. It was really fun. We had a good team. I think we lost like 5 out of the 7 the year before, and so and Shay Madsen, shout out Shay Madsen. If you're listening to this, you probably aren't, but
we'll send you the link. We'll send you the link.
So me and him were freshmen, and we had to take roles as like, I think we're like the 5 and 6 runner.
Okay.
Like 4 and 6 runner. I think I was around like the 5 to 7. I was in there, and he was like more from like maybe the 4 to 6.
Okay, he was in more that middle.
We were in there, and so we came in, and we actually played like a pretty crucial part to like a 5th place finish at state, and so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those that don't know about cross-country scoring, it's basically your position is your score. So you take 5 runners out of the 7 varsity runners. And so let's say your team goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15 points that your team gets. So it's basically just like golf, lowest score wins. And that's how you win. So let's say, you get first place. That's 1 point. You get a second, maybe at 10th. That's 11. You kind of keep going. You have a pretty good, like, solid top 20 in the 1, 2, 3, 4. But they always say that 5th person is the person that counts the most, because that's where you typically get a lot of points kind of added onto your score. Yeah. And that's really the deciding factor. So, like, for you saying that you're like the 5th to 7th guy, kind of depending or just varying, like, was that crucial for you? Like, did that motivate you at all?
Honestly, like I said, I was honestly doing it for basketball.
Sure.
And so I wasn't that into it. I was just
at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, the further the season got on, the more I realized, like, how crucial of a part it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in reality, like, everybody on the varsity and, like, the people, I feel like it's more about, like, the people who care about it.
Yeah.
Like, if they're willing to put in the work, you see that. But, like, the JV kids, like, at the bottom who, like, kind of just, like,
doing their thing. Yeah.
Like, or respect them.
Yeah. See that they're working.
Yeah. And like, everyone who, like, wants to put in, like, the work and just be there for the team, like, I feel like that's a real crucial part to the team. Because if you feel like you have, like, a little family, I feel like one of the biggest things in cross country, I'm sure you guys probably heard it too, but it was like run for each other. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a big. It's very cultural based within the team and having a good chemistry. Like in basketball, chemistry is passing. It's alley oops in certain higher levels. Having just a good chemistry on where they're going to be, knowing the play. Same as any like football, soccer maybe. Soccer is a big one because there's even more people. Cross country is very weird, because you're running as an individual, but you're being scored as a team. Yeah. And that's the same thing with track. It's the same thing. You get scored very individually, but that is your contribution to the team. So scoring is very, very individualized, but it does matter. And that was, I think that even saying, like you're saying, like run for the team, and that's just, obviously working hard and, obviously seeing those who are going to put in work, and that's the practice stuff. When it's time to compete, that's when you compete. And even drafting off people, your teammates, just knowing that they're right there always helped me. Just because it's like, well, these guys are hanging with me for these 2.5 miles so far. Let's kick it in for this last half mile. And let's get a good, score, and let's finish strong with a good time. Because there's a few meets, especially dual meets in 2A, especially varsity races. I mean, you're in a 2A classification as well. So a lot of these, unless you have like some stud athletes, but those typically are in the 4A, 3A, you'll get a few in the 2A that are just studs. But the hard thing is you get very stretched out because there's not a lot of depth. So your top 7 guys, you may have somebody at 16 minutes in a 5K and then somebody at like 18:30. That's a minute. That's 2.5 minutes of 14 people, well, 7 people at least, and you could imagine what the other team is like. So you get very stretched out, and it's very hard to run alone without having somebody right next to you. So, like, when it comes to state, I never ran at state, but when it comes to, like, the district meet, because that's where you typically have more teams and more people, that was always nice for me, just because you can actually compete with people, like in track. Like, imagine, it's really hard, like, especially at some of those Whitworth meets when you're running with, like, 4 other guys, that maybe are fast and aren't so fast. You get kind of a little weird extrema there. Especially early season, because some of the top-notch guys aren't running, or at least maybe training for something else at that time and getting prepared for it. But like even jumping, like it's so difficult when you have 4 guys in a flight and you're going back to back to back to back. It is kind of nice having a little bit of variety of kind of like, you're kind of rising up, but you don't have somebody at 42, 45, and then 46 and 48. It just kind of doesn't really become a competition. And especially when you don't know if you can jump 46 feet, it's just like, I'm just out there just trying to work on some fundamentals. And even then, if we were a bigger meet, I'd still be working on fundamentals, at least placing one more puzzle piece each meet. So it's a weird dynamic, to say the least. Where do you get your hard work from? Is it from cross country? Is it from track and basketball?
I think I attribute it to cross country. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like, freshman year, I'm like, what was I, like 14, 15?
Yeah, 14 going on 15.
Just going into high school.
Yeah.
Before that, I didn't really care about, like, I cared about, like, sports and stuff.
You cared about the things that you already cared about.
Yeah, I was really into video games, like, very into video games. I just wanted to play video games. I didn't really care about school.
Sure.
Sports was, like, it was cool.
Yeah.
But it was, like, I just want to play video games.
Yeah.
I was really into, like, I don't know if you know what it's called, but it's TF2. And then CSGO.
Team Fortress 2?
Yeah, Team Fortress 2, and then CSGO.
Yeah.
I was really into.
Yeah, that was big back then. Yeah.
I enjoyed playing those, and so I just kind of like, it was more of like a do it for, or not do it for it, but like do it so I can go back and play CSGO. Like go play sports so I can come back and play CSGO.
Yeah.
And then once I got to high school, I just kind of like grew apart. I didn't really have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got more, like, I'd say after the first semester of high school. Sorry.
You're good.
I started to, like, care more about
Sure.
my grades and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I had to put that kind of to the side. I had to put, like, the video games to the side, and I learned how to work hard, because, like, I wanted to be better at sports.
Yeah.
I wanted to be better in school.
Yeah.
And I was in cross country, and that was kicking my butt freshman year.
Yeah.
Just like the workouts, the mileage we were doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I learned how to, like, mentally, be mentally strong.
It's a switch of reality, you know?
Yeah, it really was.
Like, it's weird because, like, when you're in high school, even in college, you're facing people that are 4 years older than you.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so weird. Like, I'm very young. So when I went into high school, I was 14.
Yeah.
I didn't turn 15 until, like, I guess ended the school year because my birthday's in a few days.
Okay.
And so, like, we would always end school, or at least near there, you know, like, it might be like the final day is that day, or like shortly after, a day or two. And it's weird because you're competing against people who are top notch, who are basically us right now, maybe a year younger. You're competing against them, you know, you're competing against some top notch guys. And, like, I always got inspired by the hard workers around me. I had a teammate named Josiah Polar. He was a cyclist, and so his calves were gnarly, dude. They were gnarly. So he competed for Eastern on their cycling team, like basically like Tour de France type stuff. Like, wow. It was insane. It's not something that you normally see, but it was so cool. Like, he was a hard worker. He was our fastest guy that year, and he was a senior when I was a freshman, so I only got 1 year with him. But he was a stud. Like, he wasn't like winning state, but, you know, make it to state top 20, you know, but he was just always a hard worker, you know, and very humble. And when you, like, talk to him, he's like, oh, you know, that was a good race, you know, and he'd get mad here and there just because, you know, it's maybe just like some, like, built up anger.
Also pretty competitive, I assume.
Yeah, no, he was very competitive. Like, I think that was mainly it. Like, if it were like something that he expected but then didn't, like, accomplish, or like he got beat at the very end, you know, like, kind of hard on himself, but also not like taking that personally, you know, just kind of like, oh, frick, you know, we'll get him next time, you know, and come back into the training the next week. And so I definitely aspired to be like him very early on, and just that hard working guy. And there was a few others, like Colton Brown. He was kind of a hard knock. He was kind of like somebody who was very hard to get through. Not stubborn, but kind of maybe stubborn. I don't know. I only knew him for 2 years, so I can't like be like, oh, that's him. But at least at the time, you know, and he's a little bit older, senior, junior at that time. So he was, you know, kind of joking around with people that he already knows. You know, you always kind of tease a little bit of the younger people. But, you know, you never take it personally. And so I attribute a lot of my success and maybe confidence to that, you know, because it would, like, at least for Josiah Polar, he really wanted to reach that next level and continue going on. And he was always somebody that I always look up to. And so, like, I imagine you looked up to maybe a few people when you were a freshman, maybe kind of later in, because you kind of said that you weren't really so focused and dedicated and really love the sport, but you just did it so you can go do something else that you really loved. But you mentioned basketball. So basketball as a whole, like, is that something that you enjoyed? You don't do it now, obviously, because you do track, but like, you still enjoy it. Like, we balled up maybe one time during practice, small ball. We did a small ball, me, Dylan, and you. You carried the way, so like, you're obviously very good at basketball. I
wouldn't say I carried the way. You guys,
I mean,
helped out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that was.
I'd say it was a
it was
a team effort because you were very good at it too. So.
Well, thank you.
I'd say like I can play basketball.
Yeah.
Play it quite often, but you
got a good IQ.
Yeah, no, you're good too. You're
okay.
really good too.
Thanks. I've definitely gotten better like playing here. Like I make more shots than I miss now, which I was like, yes. I was really glad, that it's kind of like that stepping stone. You start, keep practicing 10 minutes a day. Imagine 10 minutes a day of just practicing like little things. It builds up. It adds
also,
up.
I mean, it helps out. You're fairly athletic, obviously. State champion, triple jumper.
Yeah.
So, and then hard worker, stuff like that, like competitive. And so, I mean, basketball is kind of just like put it all together, put a basketball in the hoop, and you say you shoot hoops. So I mean, combine that, and
it adds up. Yeah. And it's weird because it's like for me, and I don't know what this might feel like to you, like when you know that there's a next step, like does it like burn in you that like you want to reach that next step, or like you see something you want to replicate that? Like I remember there was this one kid who like somebody that I used to like back in the day. She went to a new school, and then like I remember like they were at like a summer thing, and he got tagged. So, like I checked his thing out. He's like a basketball player, and he did this one move where he goes right between the legs back, and then basically shimmies it behind him. So he goes boom, boom, like behind his back, and then picks up his dribble. And at that point, I never could do that. And then it's like, does it burn in you to like do something that you see somebody else do? It's kind of weird because track, you don't really see that as much, but like basketball at least, like, or
you're talking about like finesse, like someone doing a move or something like that.
Well, yeah, or like you just see somebody do something incredible and you just want to replicate that, and maybe learn like that kind of way. Like I never really used to do like the spider, when you put when you just dribble the ball in between your legs. It's kind of like that. I saw somebody do it. My friend Jordan, shout out Jordan, and I was like, I want to do that. And it wasn't like an ego thing, but it was like something that like I want in my toolbox to use, in just practice. Like this. Do you just want to strive for like something that you don't know? Like, is that something that you enjoy, or like
enjoy like seeing someone do? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's kind of like track. It's like I see someone run like a 45 seconds. Like, dang, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like like in more of like a skill, like finesse wise.
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Like I'll see someone do like like you said, like a cool dribble move. But one thing that I could say is probably take it back to cliff jumping. I saw someone.
Sure.
I was in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I was in Hawaii. It was like right before my 9th grade year.
Okay.
And maybe I think it was 8th grade spring was what it was.
Okay.
And so we were on we were at some cliffs. Like we had like a little wasn't canoe, but it was like a little kayak tour.
What island are you on?
We were on the Big Island.
Oahu.
No, it's Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii. So it's it's called Hawaii, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, God. Oh, sure.
Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're there. We're doing like a kayak tour. It wasn't really a tour. It was just kind of like go out in the ocean. And they took us to some cliffs.
Like excursion. Or something like that.
Yeah. And so it was more like a kayak or for across the coastline.
Okay.
To go to cliffs to cliff jump.
Oh,
and
sure.
I saw like the guide. He did like a backflip off the cliff, and I was like, that's when you were talking about like seeing someone do a cool dribble move. That's what I thought about. Was I saw him do a backflip. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I learned like a backflip like on not a ground, but like we went to like some sand dunes, and I was doing like trying to do like backflips. Yeah. And then like I had a close friend of mine. He's still a close friend of mine. Diego, he got really into like ground flips, and so I kind of translated that into that. And back then we didn't really do a lot of cliff jumping.
Yeah,
and that's what it kind of went to. Like we did a lot of ground flips, like actually some crazy stuff on the ground.
And that translated up to a higher height.
Yeah. And so then we got into cliff jumping. At the time where we were really into just like ground flips, we didn't really have like a car. We couldn't really go anywhere, so we just like go to each other's houses. Yeah. Like flip around, just like
in the grass.
Around. Yeah. And then we got a car, or I got my car, and like we all were like pretty old, so we could do our own thing. Yeah. And we're just like, there's like a couple places around, like let's go cliff jump, and so we'd go cliff jump, and so that's like
that was like the humble beginnings of kind of like that flipping.
I was like, I want to do that.
It's funny that you mentioned like a backflip, because I remember my first backflip ever. I was up at Get Air in Northtown Spokane, and I saw this like 10-year-old. Like I was, I think 15 or 16 at the time. I was pretty young. And I remember I saw this like 10-year-old. He did a backflip. I'd never done a backflip. I'm like, I'm not letting this 10-year-old do a backflip without me doing a backflip.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then I did it.
Yeah.
And then my friend Casey and my friend Josh, they had already been able to do backflips, maybe not so consistently, but they could do it like once every so often. And we started doing a lot of flips on the ground. My friend Josh is really good at like ground flips, maybe not like super duper technical ones. Like he's pretty solid on like a straight standing backflip. My friend Casey, I don't know what if he does any backflips now since we're out of high school, and we typically did it in high school a lot. But that kind of relating to that, because I remember this 10-year-old kid. He's just like, "Oh, it's so easy." I'm like, "Bro, this ain't easy." Like I'm terrified out of my mind. And so we really got into trampoline parks after that. And like once Get Air opened up, well, we'd Sky High down here over on like Trent Hamilton. Yeah. Second Harvest is there now, but Sky High as a kid, oh my gosh. Yeah. We go there all the time for like birthdays, and it was super duper fun. Do you have any like trampoline parks in Yakima?
Yeah, we got one. It was like my 8th grade year.
Okay.
Get Air.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
It is pretty good and open. There's like a few good trampolines, but it's like
it kind of gets boring after a while. Yeah. Especially when you're spending like $20, $30 every time.
Yeah, it's like $13 for like an hour. I'm like,
oh,
I'm
God.
not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But,
especially when you don't have any income.
Exactly. And I mean, we're in high school, just kind of like, just like, Mom, could I get some money?
Yeah, you kind of have to ask all the time.
$13 for an hour. But we actually had a friend who had a trampoline, and so it was more like we went to his house and messed around on his trampoline, and we'd actually do like some pretty cool tricks, like me and my friends would learn like double backflip.
Oh, sure.
And then like double full.
Yeah.
I think one of my friends did like a triple full.
Jeez.
Double front, just like a bunch of cool tricks, and so we were really into like just like all those flips and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people made fun of us because it's like you need to join the cheer team, stuff like that.
Oh my God.
But it's like that's why I kind of relate to you, where like people see like your YouTube, it's like why do you do that? Like and so that's why like I respect you, because I kind of saw like a little bit of that in you, where you just kind of like do your own thing, don't really care about what other people think about you. And that's where I kind of learned like to not really care about what other people think about me, was like doing the flips. Like people like they make fun of you. It's like, look at you like flipping around. It's like, I find this fun. Why wouldn't I do it? Like, why do I care what you
cool
think?
Too.
Exactly.
Like
so I see that in you, where it's like you're documenting your life and stuff like that. You're putting, your life out to your fans. And, like people are going to criticize you. It's inevitable. It's like how the world works. And so like, I've heard stuff about me, just like it was like way back then. I don't like listen to it anymore.
Sure.
Obviously. And I'd hear them, just like say that stuff, and it's like, dude, like I don't care. Like, you're not doing anything. What are you doing?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I've heard is like I wouldn't take criticism from anybody I wouldn't take advice from. And that's one of the biggest things for me. Is because if I wouldn't listen to your criticism about something that I do, I wouldn't take your advice either. And so it's weird because like when somebody, like texts me or something, I'll talk. There's a few people I just have them blocked now because I could care less. Like I see some, I just block. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'd rather just get them out of my life, and I haven't heard from them since. It seems like they don't really care. And so the one thing is like, it has been on a few occasions. I won't name any names, obviously, but
some names.
There's a few people, like they're like, well, this person like always talks like crap about you. I'm like, oh really? Yeah. I'm like, I've never heard it. It's like, somebody on a motorbike or ATV. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the podcast, but
I can hear it too.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I can hear it as well.
We'll hear it.
But yeah, like a few people did just say like, things are behind your back, but you never hear it. And it's just like shocking. Like I'm just like, what? Like who the heck cares,
I feel like it's more like, I don't know. They just got some struggle within themselves.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you. I'm going to ask you a question. But like, I mean, you kind of already answered it. But like, has there been moments where like you hear people talking like crap about your like your YouTube stuff, like the way that you I don't know, like post every day on TikTok, post it on your Snapchat,
Yeah, well, one of them was from the TikTok stuff. They had mentioned like, can you keep this stuff on TikTok? I said no, and then once I saw
heard about this, dude. That's what I was gonna ask you. I wanted you to talk about it.
Yeah, so
I heard about it from like another perspective. I want to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, so there was somebody who had mentioned like, can you keep this stuff on like TikTok? And I'm like, no, I didn't elaborate on it because I don't need to.
I just don't get it because like. So you have it on Snapchat, right? They can't just skip the story if they don't want it. They can just they have to go out of their way.
I've had a lot of people unadd me.
Really?
Yeah, because Snapchat's weird because it says like you get like a random person in your when you have your notification.
It like says like pending. It's like the gray arrow.
Yeah,
that pops up at the top, right?
Yeah, but it's so weird because it happens like super randomly, and it's like I never messaged them. And it acts like I messaged them like 5 minutes ago. It's super weird. Or like I just added them and I've never talked to them. Yeah. Super weird. But I added them in like 2019. Okay. It's really weird. So like I get a few pendings here and there, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Like I could care less. Like if you don't like my content, you don't like my content. And surely it's just my life, you know, like you can engage with it, you know, and surely I can make like a private story, you know, but I'm just sharing my life with people who I do and don't know on TikTok and /Snapchat. And like beyond just that, like YouTube, like early on, I was really, really excited about it. Like 8th grade, I was telling like all the teachers, like, oh my gosh, I made this. You remember the Ice Bucket Challenge, the ASL Ice Bucket Challenge? Yeah. Bro, I made a video for our cross-country team. It was just like of everyone just being like, hey, I nominate blah, 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 whom. And, you know, they dump it. And, you know, I made like this sick video in like YouTube Studio, like when their editor. And I was like, oh my gosh, I made this sick video. It's got like 85 views, you know, like I thought it was the sickest thing back then. And, you know, like surely, I don't know if anybody, they probably did. Heck, if I care, I didn't know about it. But like, I remember that. And then it's weird to like think about like when I moved on and then maybe I felt a little bit of that criticism. Yeah. I was like, maybe I should stop. And like 2019, like early 2019, I dropped like my first diss track after like one of my friends had made a song called YouTube Money. And, you know, it was playful. Me and Jack, it was playful. It was super duper fun. It was just kind of like, you know, just throwing shots at each other just for fun. Yeah. Nothing serious. And then another person who I've known for like ever, he lives like not too far from here. So if you ever know my address, don't knock on anyone else's door. I heard from one of my friends, Jacob, that he was writing a diss track on me, and I was
for what?
The reason I have no idea. I think he wanted to do it for fun, and then he like did it, and then I fired back a little bit more personally, and then I think I was kind of like the catalyst to a lot of the problems that happen. And then, you know, there's a lot of people that chirp around like, oh, your music sucks or like blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, it's a start. I don't know how to produce it all. Yeah, you know, like, like, well, it's like, think about it like this YouTube boxing stuff. Think about it like this boxing stuff.
Oh, they don't want to talk about that.
Think about it. Like, there's a lot of people, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, a lot of this YouTube, TikTok stuff, boxing. You know, especially more of the Paul brothers, you know, like when they're saying they're like not real boxers, but like the people that are saying that have never been in the boxing ring.
Dude, one of the things that I noticed was after the
Floyd Logan Paul fight?
The Floyd and Logan fight. Was that like on Twitter? Do you use Twitter?
Yeah, I'm pretty avid.
I started using Twitter a little bit more.
Sure.
I got like a little bit more into it. Like kind of at first it was just kind of I got into like the homepage. It's just like a bunch of BS.
Like, I just follow. I follow people who like inspire me and follow people I know.
Yeah. And so like I'd go onto like I don't know Jake's his like account
Twitter,
and, like see what he says because like you can find just like millions of threads on his
dude. The freaking comment sections on those are insane.
Yeah, and so like the more like the comments I saw like on there, it was like the one thing I noticed was that like it was just a bunch of people who didn't know boxing. It was just a bunch of people who like they I don't know they
have an opinion,
and it was like I saw people like saying like, oh, how did Floyd win? Logan threw more punches, and like you know the flurry and the
flurry at the first
they like he didn't get a single hit on him.
No, but he threw like 8 just to hit one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't even think he hit one.
No, I don't think he hit him, but you try. Yeah, you try. You try to throw as many as you can just to get one, especially on Floyd.
People were saying that like he should have won because of that. It's like
bro,
he got no hits on him. People were like, what do you mean? There were so many hits right there. It's like, you don't understand boxing.
Yeah.
I don't understand boxing, but I can tell. I mean, like.
Yeah, especially like with putting your weight on somebody who's like 50 pounds heavier. Like for Logan to be on Floyd, hugging him like literally like a third of the time. You know how tiring that's probably got to be?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had like Brooks? Has Brooks ever been like laying on you for like a dog pile? Have you ever been in a dog pile? Those scare the lights out of me. Being at the bottom of a dog pile, being 150 with Brooks on the very top.
I don't think I've ever been in contact with Brooks, but shout out to Brooks.
Yeah, dude, like those scare me. Like imagine how much weight that is. Like at the end of like a celebration, like you won the Super Bowl, or like it was like an epic goal in soccer, it's insane. It's insane. Like how much weight that is. Yeah. And for like somebody 50 pounds heavier than you to like be on you for almost, 8 minutes, being a third of the time. That's insane. Yeah. That's a long time, So like,
also only 8 rounds. And so like Floyd's used to like, I don't know, 10 to 12.
Yeah.
But I'd say like I watch a little bit more martial arts.
Yeah, I watch MMA a lot.
Yeah. So I'm not just martial arts. I like boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I like to watch
Taekwondo.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of MMA, obviously.
Yeah, I watch UFC
boxing,
a lot.
Do you have any like favorite boxers or something like that?
Canelo Alvarez. He's one of my favorite. Dude, he's so technical. Just like you can never hit him. Yeah. Ryan Garcia. I like watching him. I don't know too much about him personally boxing all the time, but I watch Canelo like all the time.
Yeah, so like I'd say like I know a little bit more than like the average person who doesn't watch boxing. Honestly. So like I've watched like a little bit. I understand like what a proper hit is.
Yeah.
And it's like just to see
the technique.
People, going back to like the Logan fight, Logan Mayweather fight. Like just the people were saying like he was getting hits and it's like I didn't see the hits. I can't tell if these people are joking.
It's hard. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's what I saw on like Jake's was like.
Comments are ruthless.
Like, did you not see the fight? You must have not watched the fight. It's like I watched the fight and you didn't get a single hit on him.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
Like,
it's hard. Taking credit. I imagine they don't read their comments. Like Joe Rogan said this on his podcast. Like he says, post and ghost. Yeah. You just post and just let whatever happens. You
can't really read that stuff because like so many people like
it gets mental.
It gets mental. So many, like I don't know, perspectives and stuff.
Well, and it feels like it becomes reality. That's the hardest thing for me. Like when somebody says like your videos suck, your music sucks, it feels like it's reality. It makes me feel like everyone thinks that same thing. Yeah. That's the hard part for me. And it's weird because it's like, I know it's not, and like when I started streaming a lot more, when I started doing a lot more when it comes to like making content, and then like people saying, oh my gosh, I love the vlogs, like keep this up, it doesn't feel the same. It's like I don't feel when somebody says something positive that makes it feel the same as if somebody said something bad about me. Yeah. It's weird because there's a weird saying. I heard this in the Impulsive podcast, and the recent one that the post fight.
Sideways towards the mic.
You're good. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I was like,
you sounded good. You sounded good the entire time.
I was worried that like maybe.
No, you're good.
Like, going straight into
you're good. And so the one of them was like, out of 1,000 people, 999 people like what you're doing, like your stand up or like your musical. That one person stands out from everybody else.
Yeah. People focus on the hate too much.
Sometimes.
The
negative side of that.
Yeah, but
it's hard. It's hard.
The points that like I think about like when I think about like social media and stuff is like like you were saying like 999 people are gonna support you in silence.
Yeah.
They're gonna like your videos. They're maybe just gonna watch it.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a view.
Yeah.
But that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people you're gonna see that hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean like I don't think it.
I don't say it affects me anymore.
It affects you anymore. Yeah. So like I just think that like if you continue to be yourself and do like what you do, you will find your people.
Yeah.
And like you will find what's like you want to do. You will be happy in life if you don't like be a people pleaser and like do fit into society. I'm not trying to like preach, like
no, it's just it's a different perspective to say the least. Like early on, like I like in 10th grade, this is kind of when I started really getting my confidence. Like 9th grade, we had like this blue versus pink. We had what was it? The gender battle of the sexes. So we had pink. All the females wore pink. All the males wore blue. And like I used to wear tie-dye all the time. It was cringy. But there was this one that day I only had one blue shirt. It was like this quarter button up and it had like a collar.
Okay.
I felt so self-conscious wearing that like to school, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like everyone's going to see that I'm not wearing tie-dye. Like I look weird in this. Like it wasn't like super bad. Like it was just like something you'd wear to like a graduation party. Like some normal stuff, I thought that was like the end of the world, like for me. And it was so weird because like now, like you know me, like at practice, I'm wearing the same thing every day. I don't care. This is what I do. People say like, why don't you take it off? Because I don't.
I mean, I'm one of the people who said it. I was like, dude, why don't you ever like? It's like 90 degrees.
No.
Like,
and I know it's not a personal jab.
And like I have my shorts on.
Yeah.
And, like,
shirt off. Yeah.
Shirt off, yeah. It's like it's hot. I'm doing a workout, and this dude is like in like
short shorts, black pants, a long sleeve, and a hoodie.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm chilling. Like it's just how you know. Yeah, it's just me. And so like it's weird because it's a weird dynamic between like that like self-conscious side and what I used to be. And like when like 10th grade, like this one person, Jade, I forget her last name. I keep forgetting her last name. I should have looked it up before because I knew I might talk about this today. Jade's like she was like, I don't remember if she texted me or we talked about this in person. I'm pretty sure this was in person. And I'm like at my locker or something, and we were talking, and she said like something about like, do you care what people think? I'm like, or like something, we got to the conclusion or the result of me saying, yeah, I'm just really beginning to like not care what people think. Yeah. Like, I just don't really care. Like, maybe there wasn't always a rhyme or reason behind it. Like, I have a lot more just kind of like backing and support to that reinforcement of that idea. So it's different now than it was back then, but it's only amplified. And so I don't really care what people think. Surely here and there, bits and pieces along the way I cared, especially when I was posting like a lot more cringier videos. Like I look back at the videos, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I even posted this. Yeah. And now I kind of have a lot more like value to it. And, you know, I imagine there was a bunch of videos back then. People were like, I would never watch that. Yeah. And like on my recent video, which I recorded in this room of me like making the biggest decision of my life, you know, not to go do track anymore and focus solely on this. Yeah. I didn't know, I kind of expected that it would be a big deal, but I didn't know how it would turn out. Like the comment sections were amazing. Like anybody who commented on that video had something positive to say. Like it was just kind of reaffirming. Like kind of what I already envisioned, you know, and like as much as I always say, like I'm going to prove the haters wrong or like, you know, like, I'm going to show them wrong. Like I just don't have any haters. So it's like, how do I prove them wrong? You know, because all these haters are silent right now. And so I don't really know, like I can't be like, oh my gosh, that guy just said that. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to actually go do that. I'm going to go actually reach my goals. But I just don't have any of those people like at, you know, right now. So it's like weird. It's a weird dynamic because I say that, but then I can't actually activate on that. So it's really weird. It's really weird. Have you ever had like anybody just like attack you? Like not physically, but like just a flurry of like text or something?
Not really, bro. Honestly, no? Like, I don't really like to
engage in that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't post often. I don't really talk to a ton of people.
Sure.
I just kind of like, I don't know. I'm not too good. I don't know. It's not that I'm too good. It's just that I've never really wanted to like put myself out there.
Sure.
It's not that I'm scared to. It's just that like I don't really want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like say like so my friend Diego, he's like content creator.
Yeah.
He's
a TikTok. He's like 500,000.
Yeah. On TikTok.
You guys went to Miami.
20K plus on YouTube. And I filmed a lot with him.
You did the scooter one with the dumpster shot. You were on the scooter and he hit you with a tennis ball. I watched that. That was funny.
Wait, I don't think that was me.
Was it not you?
No.
Oh, okay. You were in the bathroom though. It was in the bathroom of like and you were pounding on the door. Yeah. That one was funny. That was funny. I liked your hair in that video. Like the droopy kind of like hair right to the side. I liked it.
I've had a lot of hairstyles.
You had. I want to talk about that, but continue.
Okay, so like for him like he's asked me, he's like, do you want me to tag you? Like, do you want credit? And I mean, from the start, it was just kind of like, no, I don't really want to. I don't want a ton of you. I don't really care about the followers. I don't really care about.
Yeah, a tag like, just like, hey, who's in the video, kind of like thing.
It's just like, well, the thing is I've always thought about it like a lot. It's like I only want the people on my social media that like, you know, that I know. You know.
Sure.
So like,
yeah.
I have a private account, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna let people follow me. Like, if I know them.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. It's just like. I don't really care about all the tons of followers.
Yeah, who don't?
Like, it's my life.
Yeah,
and I mean, like if you, like,
just know. Like a Facebook. It's
right?
Yeah. No, because it's just like those like Demi, like Harley, like you let them follow, but like let's say somebody random you met at the track meet,
like,
maybe.
Well,
maybe
maybe
not.
Yeah,
Really
but
depends.
If it's someone
Situation.
That I don't know from a different city, it's like
Yeah.
why?
It's like somebody from Billings, Montana. You know, he
Yeah.
might not know and like follows you.
Yeah.
So,
like,
because I know your
your
account's on private, so like because I remember I had a follow request. Because I've mentioned this before to you. You know, like I just started unfollowing like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like any discredit to you. Like I'm gonna still treat you the same in real life. You know, a follow is just a follow.
Yeah, and people like I feel like they overthink that, like the social media. Like if someone follows them, it's like, oh, they must not like me. It's like maybe just because like you don't post or something like that.
Yeah, and for that was the same reason for you and Demi. You know, like I mess with you guys heavily. But you guys just don't post, you know. Like I still keep up with you guys, what you guys got on Snapchat. You know, Demi in his cars. You go into the Cove a lot, doing a lot of funny stuff with the soda. That was funny with Brooks with the soda. You guys did, that was funny. That was funny. And so
I post more on like Snapchat.
Yeah,
Instagram.
Like what you posted this week when you were at the river, like that. It's just like that.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The one that I comment. Just like chill. You know, like whereas like I guess it's just a different means of travel. You know, like. Maybe you're taking a bike, but I'm taking a bus. You know, I'm carrying a lot more with me than you. You know, and we're going maybe to two different destinations, or we just have two different outcomes of what we want.
Destination is like to have a life of like
living on
creation. And mine is just like the circle that I have around me. Like just like I don't know. It's just like random videos and stuff. Sometimes I'll post like random pictures, like I think that's like a cool picture.
Yeah, you just have like all the memories.
Like to see that.
Yeah,
exactly.
The
that's
memory.
The thing is like my memories on Snapchat is just completely full because like I love to like I was just taking a video of this room before because I think it'll be cool. Like maybe in like 2 years, like hey, maybe I was
the first guest on that podcast.
Yeah, I was the first guest on that podcast.
You were.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's like history. Like I mean, it's just something to look back on. I see a lot of people nowadays like post like something from like 1 year ago of your memories, 2 years ago of your memories, like graduation stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
that was just popping up on mine.
Like a lot of graduation stuff this year. Like the one thing is I move so differently because mine is very active and live. Yeah. It's like a day-to-day thing. Yeah. Whereas yours maybe be like a weekly thing to a yearly thing, you know? Like you're looking stuff like my Snapchat stuff, I don't look at my memories on my Snapchat.
That's crazy.
I don't care about them. The only reason that they're there is just so I continue having them. Yeah. You know?
That's kind of crazy. Like, you don't really look at it.
I like
on the present.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like, okay, to put this out there, I'm not really like focused on the past.
Sure.
It's like I think it's funny. Like sometimes
Dude,
that is funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's just like some funny thing. Like me and my friend, like we always have boys' night. We try and do every Monday. We did in high school, but we've kind of got a little bit more infrequent now since people college jobs. Yep. But every Monday we would go to boys' night, and like there was just some funny stuff that we had. Like, and mind you, the surprising thing is I didn't post a lot back then, like high school, like junior, senior year. I didn't post at all.
Really?
Like even on my Instagram from 2019 to 2020, I think I have like 3 posts. Like out of those 2 years, like 3 posts that are like from that. And I think one of them is like something that I even had before that. Like I just didn't post. Now I'm starting to get a little bit more active because I can actually be engaged in that. And it's a weird dynamic, because like for you kind of see something that's really funny, something that you like to look back at. Yeah. I don't know. Mine's just so present and mine's just so active in my day to day. Like I just don't look back at them at all.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird to like talk about it, like talk about like how you are, because, people like might come to the conclusion like, oh, they think I'm too cool because I don't post. It's just it's just how it is. You think like maybe someone would think that like, you think people care like a ton about your life and stuff like that, but it's just how you move.
Yeah.
Like you're like putting out because you think that like people, I've heard some stuff like that where it's like, why does he post so much? Like, why does he like post every day? Like, dude, like, does he think that people like care
about? Like, no, I really don't.
It's just how you move. And that's why I respect you, because I feel like seeing your content, like sometimes like if I'm just like going through my stories, like sometimes I'll skip your story. Yeah. It's just like, okay.
Heck, if I care.
Yeah, exactly. And so like that's the thing. Is, like, you don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really matter to you, and so like sometimes like I'll watch your whole video.
If there's a vlog that's just like entertaining, it gives you something to watch. It's just like a television, but a 1 minute television episode. Yeah. That's basically it, And for anybody who says that, that's not how I move. Like I don't move like being like, oh my gosh, like I need the attention. I need like come my way. Like I do this every day. Blah blah blah. Like that's not me.
No,
at all.
I heard someone say it, and I was like, I kind of like defending it. I was like, what do you mean? It's like he's just putting it out there. I think you got the wrong impression. Yeah. And it's like some people, like I don't know, people who have like stuff going on with them, they're quick to criticize.
I agree with that to a point. Like, I don't know if like everyone who criticizes has a problem, you know, like it's not like one size fits all, you know, and I'm not saying that you said that, but I just want to clarify, at least my side when I say like I don't really always assume that somebody has a problem, you know, if they criticize, you know, like I criticize people all the time. Maybe not in like a negative way.
Yeah, but I feel like there's like a difference. And
yeah, there definitely is a difference.
It's kind of getting like
muffled.
Yeah. The difference between it. Where like the you know, what's it called? What's it called when it's like thoughtful review? What's it called?
Constructive criticism.
Constructive. How could I not think about that? I was in like not high level English, but like we learned a lot about that. I don't know how to remember that.
Yeah, well, just saying that, like, hey, I agree with what you're saying, and then kind of elaborating on what your side is, and that's basically it. You know, like everyone's gonna have an opinion, no matter how valuable that opinion is. And for me, like when people say stuff like that, like I don't get down about that. I think, like you said, they have like maybe the wrong impression. You know, And when I post like my daily vlogs, like that's just like me vlogging my life. Like I wanted to do something for 100 days straight. Yeah. You know, I always take Sundays off, just because that's like my family day. That's when I can relax and actually take a break and recuperate for this next week. And so like maybe it's not 100 days straight, but for those days that I'm always there. Yeah. I'm always doing it, you know, and maybe some vlogs are more exciting than others. Yeah. You know, but like that's just my life, you know? Some days are going to be more exciting than others. And, like, you're going to have bad days. You're going to have good days, you know? Like, for me, like, not every day is a good day. Even though out of, like, I think I've only had one bad day out of this, like, 75 that I've done so far. Yeah. Like, only one bad day. Like, I have been living on, like, cloud 9. Like, it's like, dude, this is just my life, you know? Yeah. Like, this is just something that I really enjoy doing. And I just like posting stuff for maybe it hits a new audience. Maybe it hits like, you know, and maybe you look back at that and somebody looks back to that like, wow, he did 100 days straight of vlogging, you know, of TikTok, you know, and it was just for me to be more consistent and keep myself accountable of what I'm doing, because I think a lot of the times, especially growing up throughout my content, like I don't know why it always happened during November, but I never post. I just would never. I'd post like maybe 4 or 5 times in October. Okay. And then never in November. Like, I don't know why. It just always happened. And maybe it was just because of my just like consistency, you know, like, and I you know, it would be good to practice what you preach. And so like, you know, consistency, scheduling, and communication, the CCS or however you want to put that.
Community College of Spokane?
Yeah. Community College of Spokane. It's easy to remember it that way. When I say it in my head, I'm like, oh, CCS, yeah, consistent communication and scheduling. I mean, that's basically it. And it's just me being accountable for myself, you know. And everyone has an opinion on those things, you know. It's very different between everybody, you know. And I appreciate you obviously just kind of speaking up about it, because I think you have a different impression of what other people do, you know. Like it relates back to the boxing, you know. Everyone knows different things about boxing, you know. Yeah. And
everyone is like I don't think anybody's at like the same level of like understanding.
Yeah. And has the same impression, you know. Like it's not like, well, it's like a test. Like not everyone's going to miss and make the same problems all the time. Out of 20, 25 people, you may get few that are very close because they know the stuff, you know, but I'm just relating that more to like real life stuff. Nobody's going to have that same thing. Oh, we align on that. We align on that. We align on that. We disagree on that, you know. Like I prefer Converse over, you know, something else, or Vans, you know, but like people have different preferences. Like I come into the I wear the same shirt every day. Like maybe not the same exact shirt. Your eyes lit up. I wear these like gray shirts that I get from Michael's, like $3.25. Okay, yeah. Like they're basically these shirts, but without the nation or stuff. I basically wear like those gray shirts like every day. Okay. It's just what I do. It just saves a lot of time. Yeah. You know, and so it's just the way that I move. Yeah, and maybe somebody looks at like
you move. Yeah. I move differently. Like I like to have like maybe like a different variety of shirts. I do have just a bunch of like
tank tops,
Hanes, white tees.
And
like a few just like tank tops. Like the white tank tops. It's just like how you move. So
yeah, for sure, John. I have a couple photos that I pulled from an undisclosed location. I just kind of want you to explain a few of these.
Is this like hot ones?
Kind of. It's kind of that. Here is the first photo. I want you to describe like the setting and location, and the haircut. Oh, yeah. So how old were you in that photo?
I think this This gotta be 8th grade.
Yeah, that you would be correct.
Yeah, that's my friend Tommy. Shout out Tommy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was at the Sun Dome.
Sun Dome in Tacoma, that's in Yakima. That's in Yakima.
Yeah.
That's in Yakima.
For the Sun Dome shootout, I'm pretty sure. I think
For basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
For basketball, it's just like a round-robin tournament.
Yeah.
It's not really a tournament, but it's just like you have 2 games in 2 days.
Okay, gotcha.
Just like over the winter break. It's like after Christmas.
Okay, nice.
So I was just there supporting my team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the hairstyle, like I've had a ton of hairstyles.
You have. I was, yeah.
Like that one, like I actually like dreaded my hair. So it wasn't like dreaded. It was like,
but it's like clumped. It's clumped together a little bit more.
Yeah. It's like people are like, how can you dread your hair? It's like, I don't know. I just
did
it.
Yeah.
I just kind of like matted it and I twisted it.
Yeah.
And I also use like a curl sponge. It kind of like
it together. Yep.
And that yeah, I had that for like some time. I've had like the mohawk. I got the mohawk because it's like it's something different, bro. I've had like the same haircut for like quite a while.
Yeah.
I've had just like the regular like kind of drop fade.
Yeah.
His back is shaved. I've had like the dreads. I've had terrible haircuts actually. Like
you can swipe to the next one.
Oh man. Okay, yeah.
That one's not a bad one. I feel like your hair's just overgrown.
Yeah, that was
senior photo.
Senior photo, yeah. This was at Stadium High School in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like, I was gonna say I don't know any tracks that look like that in Yakima or Sela.
Right. Yeah, that is nothing like the other one. So
that's it's good hair though. You could definitely tell you're a lot older.
Yeah,
that's
so
for sure.
Was, summer for senior year.
Yeah.
I was 17.
Yeah, 17 going on 18, maybe 18 already.
I think I was 17 because I had September birthday.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, just posing on the track. My friend Malachi, his dad's a photographer, so we went up to Tacoma.
Okay. Oh, sure.
And my other friend LaRon, who we took pictures
with.
Yep.
He's also a track guy too.
Yeah, he used to run track.
Yeah.
He's just doing his own thing now.
Sure.
And so we went up there to see LaRon's grandparents, stay with them, and then we went down to Tacoma to take senior pictures. And so
dope for both of you guys.
Pictures, yeah.
Nice. And then there's one more if you want to swipe to it.
Yeah, I want to address the hairstyle.
Oh yes, yes.
That was the haircut that I went to state with for junior year track season.
Okay.
I had that haircut.
And then because this is in the summer, so it'd be right after.
I just usually grow out my hair during the summer.
Sure. You gonna grow this one out?
Yeah, I'm gonna grow this one out. Well, just like over summer. I work for the Pippins like baseball team, so I wear a hat all summer.
Oh, sure.
And so that was one of the things like why I got the mohawk was just because if I get a nice haircut, I'm just gonna be covering up a hat. Like,
might as well just get something that
fits.
Get
something that like sticks out the back a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not really going
some
for
Chuck Liddell.
I'm not really going for the mullet.
No, I definitely saw more mohawk when I saw it.
Yeah. This one, I don't know. My barber, like, he gave me, I don't know. He just like he wouldn't make it so like it kind of like swoops in the front.
Yeah.
It was more like a just straight across. So I kind of had the Edgar haircut for quite a while.
Yeah, you definitely had.
This is just the outgrown Edgar haircut.
Sure.
But senior pictures.
Yeah.
That was a really fun trip before coronavirus.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh,
this one, you're on the far left.
Yeah.
This is homecoming or prom?
This is homecoming.
Okay.
Yeah, my forehead's pretty big, so shout out my parents for that.
Yeah, there was a few other photos that I had with that same one, but it didn't look as good.
Yeah.
This one's definitely the worst of the bunch of those ones. So sorry about that. I apologize.
It's all good. Yeah, so I had like
you had the split hair. You had
yeah. Just like something different. I forget.
Yeah, it's a little bit more archy.
Yeah.
It has some arc to it.
At the beginning it looked a lot better, but the more I grew out, the worse it looked.
Sure.
And then like I don't have that. I have a pretty large forehead, so having that
Same.
is just kind of like you don't have that.
Well,
bro.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe this is the angle. I want to say it's the angle, but it's not the angle. It's not the forehead.
I always say that I have a big forehead.
No,
I always say
to do. Forehead, bro. Okay. Trust me. I got a big forehead. But I've seen bigger, so it's just kind of like.
You want to show us your forehead for the camera?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
I mean, it's just something. I don't know. That haircut was just kind of like. I didn't know my forehead was big, so it's just kind of like.
This was the most unique one that I saw, like very different from the rest, because you usually kind of have that swoopy hair, or at least it like comes down to the front and it goes, or it just all one side. Like, this was the different one because it actually split.
What happened was, so like I said, I work for the Pippins baseball team, so I wear a hat all the time. So the longer my hair got, I just push it back and then because because it was like down here sort of, and so I put the hat on and just like come down, so I had to put it back. And then like the more it grew, like when I put it back, it started to split. In the middle. So like I just started to like just grow it and grow it.
Yeah, that's because that's what I did with when it happens in my hair. When it gets a little bit longer, it just like looked better just to split it, and then Because if I just have it all one side, it looks like it's really long and I look emo.
Yeah.
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 So that one, that's the last photo of the bunch. So, yeah. I figured I would talk about the hairstyles because when I was looking up stuff about you, I noticed that you had like 8 different hairstyles throughout like the past like 4 years. Yeah. So I figured I wanted to talk about it because it's something more unique to you, you know, and I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason behind that. You know, it's just kind of different. Just happens.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, you don't really see a lot of people like walking on with like this kind of mohawk. It's
no.
Like, it's like I kind of want to like test myself a little bit.
Sure.
Because like I mean these are years where you're like finding yourself. So like,
yeah.
Why not like switch it up? Why not get a buzz cut? Why not get like a crazy mohawk?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know,
might as well. It's just hair. It'll grow back most of the time.
Yeah. I mean,
unless you get like 26, you know, 30, and you're starting to recede, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandparents, or one of my grandparents, has
he's
full
bald.
head of hair.
Oh, full head of hair. Oh, nice.
It's on my mom's side.
Gotcha. Hopefully it passes on.
But then on my dad's side, I don't know my grandparents. So.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, because my dad has a full head of hair, not even a single gray hair.
Yeah.
And he's like 50.
Okay.
And then my yeah, which is really good. And then my grandpa, the dad of my father, he's still got hair, but it is white, but it's also still got some color. So the future is bright to say the least. So yeah, and I've also ran through a bit of different haircuts. Like I had short hair, but it was always like long or short. It was like the same short and the same long. Really? Like this is the longest I've grown it out.
Buzz cut. Just switch it up, man.
Maybe we got to cut my hair at the end of the summer. Who knows?
That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
I've been thinking about getting a buzz cut, but it's like my head shape's kind of messed up. Like it kind of
it kind of widens out just a bit, at least from what I'm looking at. Yeah. Mine's kind of weird because it's weirder in the back. It's really weird, and kind of on the top. It's just a little bit weird. It's weird because I think the only time I had a buzz cut. This is a quick story. I got a hold of the scissors. Decided in kindergarten I was gonna give myself a haircut. Right, give myself a little trim, a little snip.
I think we all do that, man.
Everyone's done it. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not a certified barber. I just went straight down the middle. I recall it doing the sides, and I had a slim mohawk in the middle. But that's not what my parents said, and there's no photos to back it. So I'm still saying that it's on the side, but for my parents' sake who are listening to this, I cut straight down the middle. So there's like kind of like a big gap right in the middle here. And in elementary school, this is one of the dumbest rules in elementary school. You can't wear hats. I don't know if your elementary school ever had that. You couldn't wear hats for the longest time.
I think we wore hats.
I can understand it. Yeah,
we wore hats at recess, but not in class.
Yeah, I can understand it. You know, kind of.
It's just a distraction.
Maybe it's just trying
another distraction that you take off, throw around, just like whatever. So,
yeah, sure.
I understand it.
Yeah. It's So regardless, there was a no hat rule, right? So I'm in kindergarten. Okay. I just cut my hair. My parents buzz cut it, you know, like skin, you know, like the very prickly, very prickly. Yeah, the very prickly. I'm glad that it grew back. But like, I was like, Mrs. Maskey, I need to wear a hat. Yeah. And I wore the hat for like 2 weeks. Like it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hat. Okay. It was a little hat that I had as a kid. And I always wore it. I don't remember much about it, like, you know, being like, oh, I used to mess around with it a whole bunch. But I just remember there was a time when I cut my hair when I was young. My parents shaved it. And then I had to wear a hat to cover it up because, like, you know, we're in kindergarten, kind of self-conscious. Who knows? I don't even know if you know what the word self-conscious is in kindergarten or what it's like to feel it.
Yeah, I feel like you feel it, because like in kindergarten you're trying to fit in, honestly. When you're like younger. Like, well, I mean, maybe not kindergarten. I don't remember it. But
I can remember a lot of things that happened in kindergarten.
But, like, in elementary school, like, that's the time where you're trying to fit in.
Yeah, just trying to find your groove. But, I don't even think.
School, though, it's like, I don't know if I was trying to fit in elementary
No.
school. I was just there.
Yeah, I was playing, like, football every recess. We would play tag, have, like, your crush. And then everyone would be like, ooh, you like who? And then you date. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic in elementary school, at least at our elementary school.
I don't really remember it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember like little, like very
snippets.
I don't know.
Good memories.
Like traumatizing.
Oh yeah, traumatized memory. Yeah, good and bad memories. Yeah.
There was like I don't know. I had a heavy response to it. So.
Yeah. I remember one time. This is another quick story. We had show and tell. This was one of the things that I really loved during show and tell in first grade, Mrs. Hogan's class. We had show and tell, and I remember we did it by last name. So Ashlyn Harrison went before me. Shout out Ashlyn Harrison. Ashlyn Harrison went before me, and then like the next week it was my turn. I remember Ashlyn was giving her like show and tell, and I'm in the back of the class. Like we sat down at like the little carpet, and I'm like near the back, and it wasn't like because like I was shy or anything. Like don't make anything out of it. It was just I just sat there, and I remember like I just ripped the fattest fart, dude. It was just like it wasn't like juicy fat, but it was like loud. It had a lot of amplification, and I just remember this is the thing that always surprised me to this day, that nobody reacted to it. Like,
when was this?
This is in first grade. This is in first grade. First grade. So like, imagine like a loud noise, like any loud noise. You know, like we can hear the ATV that came by. We kind of react to it. We kind of acknowledge it. Not a single acknowledgement for my loud fart. Like not one. Okay. It was the weirdest thing.
Were you expecting acknowledgement or what?
Well, like you would, like I didn't do it on purpose. Like this was completely on accident. So it's like you would assume that like it's the most embarrassing thing in your life. Like imagine like you're on a Zoom class. This happened to me as well, where you unmute your mic, but you don't know that it's unmuted, and you start like singing.
You did that?
I did that.
Sing it? Okay.
Yeah. But it's like, it seems so embarrassing, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that happened to me.
I
you know?
had something happen. Like I was on a Zoom call. And
okay.
It was like the first time. It was like a little get together like group kind of thing that was online, and I was resetting my computer, so I was on my laptop, and I was resetting my computer, and my computer reset.
Okay.
And the YouTube video that was playing before like turned on.
Oh.
And it was just like,
I know what you're talking about because it's
And it just like it booted back on, and all I hear, like I think I was the one I was introducing myself. Of course, it was when I had my mute.
Yeah, like the one time you had it off. Yeah.
And I was like introducing myself. And I just like hear in the background, it's just like
tough,
blasted music.
Tough.
And I don't know, I wasn't even thinking. I muted sound for some reason. I didn't mute my mic. I muted my sound. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking. It was just like
panic mode. You're just like
So I like muted my sound and then went to turn down the knob.
Yeah.
And by then it was just kind of like
the damage was done. The damage was done.
Can't really cry over spilled milk. Just kind of happen.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's not about like.
It's a good memory. Who knows if anyone's gonna remember it?
Yeah, I'm sure people will. But it's just like it's like a first impression.
Yeah. That's what I'm big on is first impressions. Like I remember when there's a video of me and you when I vlogged the very first day of practice, right? We're in that big giant circle. We all got our protection on, you know, because everyone's scared. You know, we don't want to get our season canceled before it began.
Just
this is the very first day.
What protection you're talking about, please?
Masks. God. So yeah, we had that. And I remember when you were talking about you're a big computer guy. Like do you like building computers? This was our first conversation together. I remember walking to the apartments. Well, I didn't walk to the apartments. We made it to my car, and then we stopped talking.
Yeah, I built my own computer in 8th grade.
Oh, nice. It's the big video game phase.
The YouTube, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had like a laptop, and then I was like, I need my own computer.
Yeah.
So I like put together like $300.
Wow.
Waiting for Black Friday. And
Black Friday.
Yeah, and just like ordered all the parts individually. Well,
sure.
I went on to like a YouTube video and saw what the guy did.
Yeah.
And then like I kind of like budgeted it myself.
Sure.
Like, I dropped it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then so I just ordered the parts, and I just like watched the YouTube video.
Yeah.
And he put it together, and I just followed what he did.
Yeah.
And I found fun in that.
Have you built any more since?
Well, so like it was a $300 computer,
yeah.
and obviously like I've gotten a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Since 8th grade, and so I've just put in more parts into it.
Sure.
Taken out parts, sold them. Put in like other ones, got new like, screens, stuff like that. And so it's just been upgrades over the year. So I mean, like I had like the computer that I had is completely different from what I have.
Oh,
now.
Gotcha. But it built up from tier 1. Now it's like you know, it's obviously
so, like,
upgraded.
I had like the case, and then I got better parts, and then I got a better case, so I put those better parts. In the
gotcha.
Case. So it's like completely different.
Better graphics card.
But they've all been like connected.
Gotcha. You know? There's been That's cool. Oh, and I forgot to mention for anybody still watching and still listening to the hour plus podcast of this. Hopefully you are. Shout out to anybody who is. Very first podcast with Jon Watkins. This, for those that don't know, Jon is one of the people that contributed to me door dashing. I remember you brought me to my car after a big lifting day, and you had your DoorDash bag, and I was still on the fence of like door dashing and still trying to get it in. So this is a big shout out to Jon because I would not be able to actually have this podcast without Jon.
Really?
Because all my money's from DoorDash. So I remember saying it was Grubhub, and you're like, no, it's DoorDash. And I'm like, oh, you DoorDash. And I was talking to somebody who had DoorDashed, and I was like, oh, it'd be a good idea, you know. And I was looking up, like November, I was like looking up ways to like October, I was looking up ways to like make money. Like I was like, I am like looking up like side hustle stuff. And I'm like DoorDash, I'm like delivery driving. I'm like, okay, you know, I tried Grub, tried Uber Eats, like they just were still full. And DoorDash, luckily we just closed back down, or we're going to. In November. And so luckily, like I got in, and I've been doing it ever since, still do it. Yep. You've been doing it a lot more.
I've been doing it since September.
Yeah.
Not every day, but
like
weekends when I have the time.
Yeah. I still do mine Wednesday to Sunday, every Friday, 5 to 7. Sometimes I go a little bit over depending on if there's like a good order. Yeah. It's like $15 or $10. I might take it, you know, no matter how long it makes, just an extra 10, just a little bit more time. So yeah, John, you are somebody who is contributed to actually a lot of this podcast in a very indirect way.
Sweet.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I can have you on.
Yeah.
So
great.
Yeah, big shout out to you and the other person who we no longer speak, which is unfortunate. But, John, I got one final question for you before we wrap up. Who is Jon Watkins?
Man, it's kind of hard to put into words, man, because I never really think about it. I just kind of live, but Jon Watkins is God-loving, hardworking, caring person who loves track, cliff jumping, building computers, spending time with friends and family.
That's who Jon Watkins is.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I had more time to think about it.
Sure.
That's just what
I figured I'd put you on the spot. Yeah. Maybe we'll make this a tradition.
Yeah. For your podcast?
Yeah. Who is blank?
Yeah, just hit him with
Hit him with it.
I mean, if they watch the podcast before, they'll see that you asked that at the end.
Yeah. Maybe they'll be prepared. Maybe I won't ask it. Maybe I'll put it in the middle.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should probably.
Who knows? I'll surprise them. Maybe the very first thing I say, John, welcome to the podcast. Who is Jon Watkins?
Yeah.
I don't even need the intro. I just have him come on and they explain it for me. That's cool. Well, John, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for being our first guest. Remember to buy the new merch that just dropped. June 12th is when we're recording this. And they just dropped shop.spreadshirt.com/nationer. I'm holding up the things right now. So hopefully, we'll be able to get it on. I imagine we went to audio because I see that the thing is not working, but that's okay. We'll make sure to get that working. But beyond that, thank you so much, John, for coming on. I appreciate you.
No problem, bro.
Pleasure having you.
Yep. I saw like a bunch of podcasts, watching a few of them, and it's like, I want to do it.
Ton of fun, dude.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, remember to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you later. Peace.